Thank you so much for joining us today at Everyday Yoga. This is a recording of a live Zoom class. My name is Christine and my pronouns are she and her. We are practicing today with an eye towards the fact that the rain is coming. We've got sore joints, we've got sore backs, and we've got armpit issues and hip issues, but we still want to move, we still want to feel good, we still want to nurture ourselves, we still want to take care of ourselves. And there are always going to be days when there's something good for you that you know that you should do, and you don't want to do it, but once you do it and it's over, you're so glad that you did see it through. So that's what this practice tonight is all about. This practice is about showing up when you don't necessarily want to show up, and then hopefully being glad that you did afterwards. So let's go ahead and start in a nice comfortable seat. I am sitting up on a nice soft cushy foam block. Gives my knees a little bit of room and gives my ankles a little bit of room and gives my hips a little bit of room. I encourage you to find a seat that feels good for you, whether it's sitting cross-legged on a cushion or a block or a blanket, or maybe sitting in hero's pose on your knees with a block or two stacked underneath you. Or you could even begin the first part in a chair if that feels good to you. All things being taken into account, even when you do show up, occasionally the yoga guide will instruct you to do something that doesn't feel good in your body. So I want to encourage you, if we are practicing anything in this particular class that doesn't feel good in your body, to please listen to your body and do something that does feel good in your body. If we're doing something with our arm straight out and it feels better for you to have your arm out to the side, then definitely take that alternate move. This is about modifying to make yoga fit your body, not forcing your body to fit the yoga. So the first thing we're going to do is come into that comfortable seat. And we're just going to want to sit up nice and tall, and maybe pressing into the tops of the thighs and really extending through the crown of the head, tilting that chin down just a bit towards the heart, maybe visualizing the spine and seeing if you can make a little bit more space in between each of the vertebrae. And then we're just going to breathe. Notice the breath. We go all day long letting our breath just take care of itself as part of our autonomic nervous system. It just manages the inflow and the outflow of the oxygen. But we can use that powerful tool to calm our nervous systems down and to take care of ourselves. So breathing in and out of the nose, which has been shown to be the most healthy way to breathe, because our noses are designed to clean toxins and viruses and things out of the air in a way that our mouths simply are not. So breathing in and out of the nose. Let's just find a nice, even, slow breath. Maybe taking your attention to the tip of your nose and just noticing how the breath flows in and out. Feeling the sensation, maybe closing your eyes to help you go inward. Maybe imagine that you have a little feather right underneath your nose. And as you breathe, you're trying not to disturb the feather. So your breath is soft and slow. Noticing where the breath shows up in your body. Do you notice the chest rising and falling? Do you notice the belly expanding and contracting? And as we're gently, softly, slowly breathing and watching the breath, maybe take your attention, your mind's eye, just to scan the body, starting with the top of the head, just bringing your awareness down through the body to the forehead, seeing if you can soften and relax the forehead. Soften the eyelids. Let the temples be soft. Let the jaw be soft. Allow the neck to relax and allow those shoulders to drop down and the elbows to be heavy. Let go of any strain or tension in the belly. Maybe sending the breath down into the belly to spread throughout the hips and the pelvic bowl. Allowing the thighs and the knees and the shins and calves to be nice and heavy. And then finally coming down to the feet and the toes. Just sending a little loving kindness to those areas of the body where you might be experiencing pain or tension. Being grateful for their hard work, for taking care of you, for getting you this far. And sending them a little attention that now's the time that you're going to take care of them. And let's just go ahead and inhale here, nice and tall. And as we exhale, let's just let the chin come down to the chest. Getting a nice stretch in the back of the neck. Not rounding forward, but keeping the heart lifted here as the shoulder blades come down the back. Shoulders as far away from the ears as we can get them. And the next time you're inhaling, go ahead and bring the head back to the top of the spine. And as we exhale, let's take the right ear over towards the right shoulder. And let's just gently begin to find a little stretch in the left side of the neck here. Maybe extending the left fingers out towards the floor or out to the wall next to you. And seeing how that changes the sensation in the neck, in the shoulder, and the arm. Just play with the elevation of that arm a little bit to find a spot that just really works for you. And you can stay here or with the fingertips down on the floor. Or maybe for a little more, you can take that left arm behind you and come across the low back and see if you can't just rest the back of the hand on the low back, or maybe even reach over to this right elbow and really get a nice stretch all across the left side of the neck, the left shoulder, shoulder blade, the bicep. And as you continue breathing that nice, soft, gentle breath here, see if you can really focus on expanding into that left lung. Expanding the ribs on the left side body. Expanding through the neck. Broadening, lengthening. One more breath here. And as you exhale, go ahead and release the bind if you have one. And inhale the head back to the top of the neck. And then we'll exhale to bring the left ear to the left shoulder. And begin the same journey here, stretching through the right side. You can stay here with just the neck stretch, or you can reach those right fingertips out towards the side, maybe down towards the earth, or lifting them up to point at the wall next to you. And just playing with that a little bit, exploring what feels good to you and what feels good in your body today. If you'd like to take that little bind, you can bring the right hand to the small of the back, maybe just resting the back of the hand near the sacrum, or you could reach that right hand all the way around to hold on to that left elbow and continue in stretching the right side body. Expanding through the ribs. Noticing how you can really send the breath over to the right side, expanding as you focus in the lung. Allowing the breath to help you stretch here. Nice and slow and soft and gentle. So many of us are caretakers of other people, our furry family members, or maybe scaly family members, I don't know. But it's not often that we get somebody to take care of us. And so this time is for us to take care of us. You deserve it. And the next time you exhale, go ahead and release the bind if you have it, and inhale the head to the top of the spine. Then we'll just make some little circles here with the nose in one direction, just kind of loosening up through the neck here. Maybe making the circles a little bit bigger, being gentle with the back of the neck here. And then when you're ready, reverse the circles, moving nice and slow. Being very gentle with yourself, remembering everything your body has done for you. And taking good care of it too. And then we'll come back to center. And if you have your legs crossed, let's go ahead and switch that cross. Balancing out through the hips. And then let's take an inhale and raise those arms up alongside the ears, coming into our victorious pose. Drawing those shoulder blades down the back, rotating those pinkies inward towards one another. Take a full breath here. And the next time you exhale, go ahead and gently twist over to the right, bringing the left hand to the top of the right thigh. Maybe looking back over that right shoulder, and think about really drawing the right shoulder back so that you're opening up through the pectoral area here. You can bring the fingertips down to the earth behind the right hip here. Just really gentle, not pushing into it, not forcing into it, but just relaxing into it. And breathing here, expanding through both sides of the body, letting the ribs really expand as you inflate those lungs. Inhaling and finding a little bit more length in the spine. And as you exhale, see if you can't soften into your twist just a little bit more. And the next time you inhale, let's go ahead and bring those arms back to our victorious pose. And we'll exhale over to the left. always balancing everything out. Looking back over that left shoulder and drawing that left shoulder away and down from the ear. Just allowing it to feel really good here for you. Inhaling length and expanding through the ribs. And exhaling to soften into your gentle twist. The next time you inhale, we'll bring those arms back to our victorious pose. And then let's go ahead and exhale, release the hands. And let's go ahead and come into child's pose. So child's pose you can do with the legs parallel, or you can take the knees out wide. You can do it with the tops of the feet flat to the mat, or you can curl your toes under. Play around with it, explore it, invite some curiosity to your body as you explore what seems like a very simple pose, but can actually really change depending on how your body feels. So I'm bringing my big toes together and taking my knees as wide as the mat, and I'm sending my hips all the way back so that I'm sitting on my heels to begin with here. And then gently bringing the forearms down to the mat, and then sinking all the way down, bringing my forehead to the mat. You might find a block here very handy, bringing your forehead to the block. But see if you can't anchor those hips down, down, down to the heels, wherever they are. And just rest here. Send the breath anywhere it feels good to you. You're feeling tightness in your hips. Really expand through the breath and send that breath down to the hip area, or maybe the low back, or maybe the ribs. Just explore how you can use the breath to expand and nourish different parts of your body. Let's go ahead and, if it feels good to you, see if extending your arms out, bringing the palms together in Anjali Mudra prayer position, and then coming to bring the hands behind the neck. See if that feels good to you. You might even walk the elbows away from the body a little bit so that you can sink a little deeper down into this child's pose, this Savasana pose, getting a really nice stretch here in the tricep area. Taking a breath or two more in whatever version of child's pose you're finding to your liking. And then let's go ahead and re-extend the arms if you had them bent. We'll come up into tabletop on the hands here. Let's just rock back and forth a little bit, getting a little bit of movement in the wrists here. You might explore changing the hand position a little bit. So typically when we're in tabletop here, the index fingers are parallel and the hands are spread wide. But you might explore turning the fingertips out towards the sides of the mat and maybe rocking a little bit gently from side to side. Or you might even want to turn the palms in towards you and get more of a stretch on the inner arm. Or you could come to your fists and rock back and forth here to take a little bit of the pressure off the wrists. So just exploring what might feel good in the hands and wrists today. And then let's take that right hand and plant it right underneath the gaze. And then we'll take the left fingertips and really slowly trace the inside of your right arm, drawing the left fingertips up. And actually touch your body here, coming across the shoulder, across the collarbones, looking up towards the sky and reaching up towards the sky. Keeping the arm low if that feels better in your shoulder here. We'll stay here for a full breath, wiggling our fingers wherever they are. And as we exhale, we'll send that left arm behind the right arm, coming to thread the needle, coming down to that left shoulder, the left temple, reaching that right arm out nice and long, and just allowing the body to melt here. Stretching through that left shoulder blade. Really kind of drawing those hips back towards the heels. And then you can just allow that right arm to be soft, maybe anchored down on top of the left arm. Maybe pressing into the heel of the left hand and really drawing that right shoulder away, getting a little bit deeper into your twist here. Taking another breath or two wherever you are. Breathing into the ribs, breathing into the low back. Focusing on those areas as you inhale and seeing how that can expand. And release any tension as you exhale. And then we'll come back to tabletop in the upper body. We'll plant that left hand underneath the gaze and draw those right fingertips up the left arm as if you're pulling back the string of a bow and arrow. Or I guess I'm just the bow, really. No arrows here. We're not flinging any arrows at anybody, but we are reaching up to the sky, taking a full breath wherever you are, expanding through the side body. Wiggle those fingers, and then dive that right arm underneath the left, coming to the right shoulder, the right temple, reaching that left arm out nice and long and just sinking into that shoulder here. Letting gravity and your own body weight help stretch that shoulder blade. And then bring that left arm to whatever position feels good in your body. You can rest it across the right arm, anchoring you to your mat here. Maybe pressing the heel of your left hand to the heel of the right and drawing that left shoulder away, getting a little deeper into this twist. And when you're ready, we'll unwind and release the twist here. And we'll come into tabletop and I'm gonna get myself a hair tie. I had forgotten here. Let's just come into tabletop and we'll do a couple cat-cows. And you can, again, do this with your toes flat to the mat, or you can curl the toes under if that feels better in your feet, or you can do some combination thereof. We can come into cow pose and curl those toes under, stretching the bottoms of the feet here, dropping the belly, maybe bending the elbows a little bit, taking an inhale here. And then you can flip the tops of the feet down to the mat as you come into cat and exhale here. And really draw that belly button into the spine, letting the head be heavy and hang down towards the earth. Inhale, cow pose, drawing the heart forward, lifting the tailbone up to the sky. Exhale, cat pose. Really pressing into the fingers here and really making space in between those shoulder blades. Inhaling cow. Exhaling cat. And then let's kind of make some little yummy circles here. So we'll inhale cow pose. And as we exhale back to cat, we'll come through the right side body, shifting the right ribs and the right hips over to the right and maybe all the way back to the heels into child's pose. And then sweeping up through the left side body and coming back to cat pose, or cow pose, excuse me. So we're just making a big circle. And don't worry about balancing it out. I'll make sure that we reverse the circles. So you can make these circles as small as feels good to you. Or you can really stretch all the way up through the ribs. One more in this direction. The next time you come into cow, let's reverse directions. Exhaling back through the left to child's pose and inhaling up through the right to cow pose. Just getting some nice spinal movement here. Finding your edge where it feels good to you. And then we'll go ahead and come all the way back up to tabletop pose. And let's send that right leg out long and curl those right toes under and just kind of move that right foot back and forth, shifting the weight over the hands, pressing into the heel, and then releasing, pressing into the heel, and then releasing. And then let's go ahead and lift that right foot up off the earth. And then we're going to kind of rotate the hips so that we can stack the right hips over the left and bend that right knee, getting a nice big stretch in the front of the right hip flexor here. Just a little bit of a twist in the hips, opening up here. Next time you inhale, let's send that right leg out long again and exhale, drawing it all the way through, bringing the right knee towards the right hand and sort of sinking back onto the hips, letting that left leg come out long behind you. Depending on your flexibility, you might be able to have the right shin parallel with the front of the mat. I have my right heel pretty much all the way into my left hip flexor. So anywhere in that range that feels comfortable for you is a good spot. And if you like, you can take your cushion or a block and kind of snuggle it underneath the hips here. If you notice any background music, that's just normal for my neighborhood. We're coming into half pigeon pose. And you can lift yourself up onto your fingertips and really draw those shoulder blades down the back, lifting the heart, tucking the chin. You can stay right here if you like, or you can come on down to those forearms. Maybe adjusting a little bit so that the belly is resting comfortably inside the right thigh. You could stay here, Or maybe bring your hands together in prayer position, Anjali Mudra, and let your forehead rest on your thumbs. Or maybe you want to come into child's pose in the upper body, bringing the forehead all the way down to the mat and stretching the arms out long. Or you could stack your hands one on top of the other and rest your forehead at the top, back of the top hand. So again, invite a little bit of curiosity here and explore what feels right for your body today. And then see where you can soften. See where you can let go. See if you can allow your hips to be a little heavier. See if there's any tension in the jaw or in the shoulders or in the toes that you might be able to release. And we'll just stay here for 3 full breaths. Noticing how the inhale expands the back body. Maybe you can feel your heart beating. Maybe allow the head to be a little bit heavier. And the next time you inhale, go ahead and walk yourself back up to your hands, maybe coming to fingertips. And if it feels good to you and you want to get a little deeper in the front of that left quadricep, you can bend the left knee and bring the heel towards the hips, and maybe even plant that right palm so that your forearm is resting against that right knee. And you can bring that left hand all the way back to hold on to that left foot. You can hold on to the outside of the foot or the inside, or you can bring it down to the ankle. You can press that left hand or press the left foot into the left hand and maybe turn the head back towards the foot to see if that feels good in the neck. Or you might want to keep the gaze forward and see if that feels better in the neck. Wherever you are, go ahead and release, coming back to both hands. And then we'll curl those left toes under and lift the left heel and really press back here into that left heel, making lots of space in the front of the left hip. And then we'll go ahead and come on back to tabletop, and let's just take a few cat-cows here to realign the hips, realign the spine, realign the neck. And then coming back to tabletop, we'll send those left toes out behind us, curling them under, keeping them down to the mat, and just kind of rocking gently back and forth a little bit here. Stretching in the back of that left calf. Maybe you want to find stillness and really press back into that left heel. And then we'll lift that left leg up, bend the left knee, and stack those hips, drawing those left toes back behind you, trying to keep the integrity in your shoulders and your hands here so that the twist is in the hips and not affecting the rest of the body. Breathing here, maybe rotate that ankle in one direction and then the other. And then we'll send that left leg out long behind us and then exhale to draw it all the way through, bringing that left knee towards the left wrist here and just kind of pushing back a little bit to send that right leg out long behind you. So the right leg is parallel to the mat. Again, you can have this left leg parallel with the front of the mat, but the goal is to keep those hips square to the mat. So if bringing the heel towards that right hip flexor helps you to do that, then that's where you ought to be. And again, you can bring a block or a cushion underneath that right sits bone so that you can just kind of snuggle here. And just release. Drawing that heart forward, keeping those shoulder blades down. And then begin to find whatever position of pigeon pose feels good for you, whether that's coming down to the forearms or to your prayer position, to child's pose or to your stacked hands. Take a nice big inhale here to expand the back body. And as you exhale, just surrender to gravity, allowing the atmosphere to help you to settle more deeply and more softly into this pose. See where you can let go, see where you can soften. Take that scan of your body again from the top of the head all the way down to the tips of the toes and see what you notice here and where you might be able to let go of some tension. We'll just stay here for a few breaths. Softening, sinking, relaxing, letting go. When you're ready, go ahead and walk yourself back up to your palms or to your fingertips. And if you want to go that little extra bit and get a stretch in the front of the right quadricep here, you can plant that left hand so that the forearm is kind of anchored to the left shin here. Bend that right knee and reach back for the right foot or ankle, inside or outside. Looking either forward or back towards the foot, whatever feels best in your neck. Pressing that foot into the hand, just really opening up through the right side body. And then we'll go ahead and come back to our fingertips, curl those right toes under, really lift that right knee up off the earth and press back here. And then we'll let everything come back down and we'll just swing that right leg around to the front. And we'll come into our Baddha Konasana here. Butterfly position, bringing those soles of the feet together. And we'll just take a moment here to maybe massage the insides of the feet. Maybe the ankles, maybe the heels. Maybe sway a little bit from side to side. Maybe coming to take your fingers in between all the little tiny bones in the tops of the feet. Metatarsals? I don't know. I can never remember all that stuff, but the little bones, you know where they are. Maybe squeeze the toes and gently pull them away from the feet, allowing the fluid in the joints to flow freely. Maybe giving them a little hug with the fingertips or rolling them around a little bit. And then let's take those wrists and give them a little rotation in one direction. And then the other. We spent a little bit of time on our wrists here. And then we'll go ahead and bring those knees together, coming to sit long ways on the mat. Bring those hands right here behind the thighs and gently, gently, gently roll yourself down to the mat, really visualizing those little vertebrae in your back, and see if you can't just lay one at a time. Could be very challenging, so just do your best. Visualize in your mind one bone at a time, just setting down. I think 4 just went for me. And then we'll just stretch everything out long, coming into a nice, good morning stretch. Rotating wrists, rotating ankles in one direction and then the other. And then let's just make a big X shape on the mat, bringing the hands to the top corners and the feet to the bottom corners. Just expanding out nice and wide here. So many of us, depending on your age, you might have come up in the time of children should be seen and not heard, and we should be quiet and settle down and grow up and act our age and not take up too much space or too much time. But I encourage you here to take up space, spread your body out, letting it be your partner, letting it tell you what it needs. And telling your body it has every right to be here. Why do I know that? Because you're here. And then let's go ahead and draw that right leg over towards the left, and then draw the right arm over towards the left arm so that we're making a nice little C shape coming into banana asana here. So if you were looking at me with the top-down camera, I would look like a banana laying on its side. You could interlace those fingers and maybe send the index fingers out, kind of like pointer fingers. And you could even cross that right leg over the left, really increasing the stretch here in the right side body. And you can make this as intense as you want by really, really expanding through that right side body, or you can just let it be soft and let it be easy and let it be gentle. So let it be what you need today. No competition, no judgment, just taking care of ourselves here. And as we're expanding through that right side body, maybe you can focus on breathing into that right lung. Using your breath to create space in between the ribs. Using your breath to nourish your body. Just another couple breaths here. And when you're ready to release, we'll just inhale back to center, stretching out into that nice long good morning stretch again. And then we'll take up space, spreading the arms to the corners, spreading the feet to the corners of the mat. X marks the spot. You are here. And then when you're ready, we do have to even everything out. So we will hug that left leg over towards the right leg and the left arm over towards the right arm. And we can just stay here and let it be soft and gentle. Or we can deepen it by interlacing those fingers. And if you interlace the fingers on the first side, see if you can't adjust so that the opposite thumb is on top this time. And if you want to cross that left ankle over the right, you can do that here as well. So we've moved our spine now in all 6 directions. We did the forward and backward flexion with the cat-cow. We did a little seated twist. Now we're going from side to side, creating healthy spines, getting that synovial fluid flowing, bringing nourishing oxygen to all the cells, where all the cells are well. Breathing into that left lung, expanding through those ribs, making space, taking space. Couple more breaths here. When you're ready to come out, we'll inhale back to center, stretching everything out long, getting the toes as far away from the fingertips as possible, and then maybe flexing and pointing the hands and the feet. And then we'll bring the soles of the feet back to the mat, pointing the knees up to the sky. Take the feet out as wide as the mat if that feels good to you, and just kind of windshield wiper the knees gently from side to side. You can keep your hands to the belly here, or maybe you can spread those arms out wide into a T shape. And as your knees go to one side, your gaze can go to the opposite side. Just getting one last little twist in here before we wrap up our practice. You can bring the knees as close to the earth as feels good to you. And then we'll come back to center and hug one knee and then the other in towards the heart. Maybe inviting the nose up towards the knee, just realigning everything here. And then let's bring the feet back down to the earth and come into your final resting pose. Full Shavasana, sending those legs back out, feet at the corners of the mat at the bottom there. And then opening up the arms to the sky and kind of press into those triceps a little bit just to lift the heart enough to hug those shoulder blades in toward one another. Maybe press the heels into the earth so that you can curl the tailbone under and really settle the small of the back down to the earth. Tuck the chin to keep the neck long. And just rest. Soften. Allow yourself to just focus on the energy that's flowing in your body. Maybe coming back to scan the body again, but this time starting at the toes. Maybe see if there's any tension there in those toes that you can soften and release. Then moving up, relaxing the feet, allowing the ankles to be soft, allowing the shins and the calves to be heavy and the knees to just be really soft and relaxed. Let those thighs melt to the earth. And let the hips just sink down and be supported. Softening through the back body and the shoulders. Noticing if there's any tension in the fingers and allowing that to just soften and allowing the hands to open and the palms to be soft. The wrists, the forearms, the elbows, the upper arms. The shoulder blades just sink back towards the earth as the collarbones kind of slide away from one another. Let the throat and the neck be relaxed here. Soften through the jaw. The eyes be heavy in their sockets and the forehead be smooth. And we'll just be here for a few more breaths, and maybe you can think about a color that just kind of appeals to you. And imagine you have a bubble surrounding yourself that's glowing with that beautiful color that you've chosen. Every time you inhale, the bubble expands. And every time you exhale, the bubble just gets brighter and brighter. This is your bubble. Right here, right now in your bubble, you're safe. The temperature is perfect. You're supported and nourished in your bubble. Glowing with that soft, beautiful light surrounding you. A bubble that you can imagine surrounding you anytime, any place. We'll take one final breath here. And then let's start wiggling the toes and wiggling the fingers. Rotating the ankles and the wrists in one direction and then the other. And then you can draw the knees back up towards the sky. And from here, you can either roll to whatever side serves you best, or maybe it might feel good to draw one knee and then the other in towards the heart and rock and roll yourself up and down the spine, getting a little playful, getting a little massage on the back. And if you've rolled to one side or the other, go ahead and press yourself back up into a seat. Maybe stretching those legs out nice and straight in front of you, coming into staff pose, Dandasana pose. Pointing the toes up to the sky, finding some evenness and some balance here in the hips as we wrap up our practice. Let's stretch those fingertips out to the side and find length again through the spine. The next time we inhale, let's reach those arms up alongside of us, imagining that beautiful bright bubble that surrounds us and taking that color and taking that warmth and that beauty all the way down to our heart. And this is where we tilt the chin gently, recognizing the beauty and the light within ourselves and within one another. Thank you so much for practicing today. Namaste.